The Magic Guild, fried chicken, and mayonnaise. Finding the Magic Guild was easy. It was a much smaller building compared to the Adventurers Guild. I walked right in and, just like the Adventurers Guild, there was a reception desk with a young woman on duty. There was no one else around. "Welcome. Are you here with a request?" Well, I'm not sure if it's a request exactly. To be honest, I don't even know what kinds of things you can ask for at the Magic Guild. I get it. The Magic Guild really isn't that well known, is it? Okay, I'll give you a quick explanation. In short, the Magic Guild is an amazing guild that handles anything and everything related to magic. For example, we can help if you want to learn magic, create or modify magic tools, repair broken ones, appraise excavated magic tools, and we even buy and sell magic stones. If you're having any trouble with something related to magic power, the Magic Guild is here to help. That's easy to understand. In that case, I guess it is a request. I'd like to see various kinds of magic to study them. So, you want to learn magic? Can you use any magic already? I can. For fire magic, fireball and flame arrow. For wind magic, air bullock and wind cutter. And for water magic, I can use water. Wow, 3 whole attributes. And you still want to learn more? Actually, you should just become a guild member. Are there any benefits to becoming a guild member? Of course. As a guild member, you can purchase magic stones, magic tools, and grimoires for, get this, 20% off the market price. That's a bit underwhelming, but depending on how you look at it, I might be able to turn it into a business. Then again, I don't want to deal with that hassle. Thanks for the offer, but I think I'll pass on becoming a member. Hold on a second, there are plenty of other perks. For example, requests you make to the Magic Guild are also 20% off. If you're going to make a request now, you'd save money by becoming a member first. That's a good point. How much does it cost to join? 5 silver coins. Same as the Adventurers Guild. Speaking of which, is it a problem that I'm already a member of the Adventurers Guild? Not at all. In fact, most of our members are. By the way, what's your adventurer rank? Have you been doing it for long? I'm C rank. I just became an adventurer 2 days ago. C rank after just 2 days? Amazing! We absolutely have to get you to join. If I let you get away, the branch manager will kill me. I don't really care, but I think she's saying her thoughts out loud. Do you guys have ranks too? We do. They're exactly the same as the Adventurers Guild. But unlike them, your rank won't drop if you don't take a request once every 2 months. We're a very forgiving guild. And by the way, we don't have any mandatory requests either. Sounds like there's no harm in joining, but are there any downsides? Absolutely none. There are no membership fees or anything like that. The only drawback, if you could call it that, is that the Magic Guild gets very few requests, so you probably can't make a living off of them alone. I don't get what purpose this guild serves then. Shh, that's the forbidden phrase. But we also do things like research new magic and develop magic tools, so we're an indispensable and important guild for the world. I see, maybe you're right. As for becoming a member, can I decide after I know how much the request will cost? I'll have to pass if it's too expensive. Understood. You want to learn magic, right? What kind of magic do you want to learn? What's your budget? Actually, here's the price list for our grimoires. She was a pretty impatient girl. She handed me the grimoire price list. I didn't actually want a grimoire, but this was interesting. A fireball grimoire is 80,000 guineas. It costs that much? You didn't know? That's been the price for as long as I can remember. I had no idea. Grimoires are so expensive. If they're this pricey, you'd think someone would try to copy and sell them. If anyone tried that, they'd be sentenced to death in any country, instantly. It's the same crime whether you copy, sell, or buy them. The Magic Guild has some serious connections in every nation. I see, so that's how it is. Sorry to ask after you showed me the list, but I don't actually want a grimoire. I just want you to show me the magic in person. It'd be great if you could explain it too. What? But you want to learn magic, right? What good will just watching it do? Well, for studying, grimoires are expensive, you know. I thought I'd like to see the magic in action before I decide to buy one. After hearing that bit about the death penalty, it seems like it would cause a huge uproar if they found out I can learn magic. I'll just gloss over it with a plausible excuse. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Understood. Which magic would you like to see? I started listing off magic names while looking at the price list. Wait a second. Let me take a memo. I listed the names of the spells, asking for explanations of the ones I didn't know. This light magic spell, heal, what kind of magic is it? It's a healing magic that cures injuries. A magic like that exists? For real? What? You didn't know about healing magic? Now I'm the one who's surprised. That's amazing! I definitely want to see that. In the end, it turned out to be every spell I didn't know. So how much is this going to cost? We've never had a request like this, so I'm not sure. I'll have to check with the branch manager. He's not here right now because he's working at the clinic. Why is he working at a clinic? The branch manager can use heal, so he works there part-time. This is all because the branch's sales are so bad. Ah, I see. You guys have it rough. Oh, and just so you know, whether I make the request or not depends on the price. If it's too high, I'll give up. Understood. On our end, we can't show you all of these spells either. We don't have many guild members in this town, so for the rarer magic, it'll have to be whenever we get the chance. Of course, we could summon someone from another town, but that would get expensive. I see. That's fine. It's not like I'm in a rush. Okay, I'll ask the branch manager tonight. Can you come back tomorrow? I can. What time would be good? The morning would be best, since the branch manager will be here. And hey, if you decide to become a member, we can do the evaluation test then too. So there is an evaluation test after all. Of course, that's how we decide your rank. If you decide to request it, I'd like to watch too. You'd want to see it as well, wouldn't you, Elma? Clelia, who had been silent until now, spoke for the first time. Yes, I'd like to see it if possible. All right, let's do that. That's okay, right? It's the same amount of effort. Well, if you're planning to use the guild member discount, that's a bit of a problem. If a non-member is included, you can't use the discount. I see. In that case, maybe it's better if we both become members. What? You mean to say that you too can use magic as well? We can. Ooh, a chance to get a bunch of new members. I'll check with the branch manager. All right then, is 9 o'clock tomorrow okay? Yes, that's perfect. We'll be waiting for you. We left the Magic Guild and headed back to the inn. It's probably best to keep the fact that I can learn magic just by seeing it a secret, right? Indeed, I have a feeling it would be a little problematic if the Magic Guild found out. No, it would definitely be a problem. I'm sure it would cause a massive commotion. Yeah, that's what I thought. That was a close call. Even if we do become members, it's probably best to hold back during the evaluation test. It's a shame. If you showed them your true magic, Alan, you'd be S rank for sure. I don't care about guild ranks. More importantly, what do you want for dinner? Anything's fine, but I know. How about a dish from your country, Alan? A dish from my country, huh? What should I make? A dish from Earth, which was all the rage in the Empire right now, was probably the best choice. What would be a good chicken dish? Mulling it over, I arrived back at the inn. I brought my seasonings from my room and told them I wanted to start cooking right away. The kitchen couldn't fit that many people, so Clelia and the others decided to wait in the dining hall with some tea. I was led into the kitchen to find the old man cutting up a blackbird. Sorry to make you do the prep work. I'm Alan. Nice to meet you. This ain't much trouble. The name's Barth. So, what are you making? I was thinking of making a few dishes from my country today. Whoa, you've butchered this beautifully. Just what you'd expect from a professional chef. The meat was already neatly cut into its respective parts. The sinew had been removed too. Ooh, white liver. First, a check of the equipment. The fire magic tool was identical to the one I saw at Mr. Tals's mansion. He might have bought it from one of Tals's affiliated stores. There was also a brand new refrigeration magic tool. Oh, and a grater. There were wooden bowls of various sizes too. Frying pans, pots. The place was even better equipped than Mr. Tals's mansion. No wonder the food here was so good. The refrigeration tool was stocked with all sorts of vegetables. I checked the seasonings. Most of them were the same as what Mr. Tal's had. Whoa, is this katsuo bushi? You know what that is? I actually bought it cheap from a regular customer, a merchant who stays here, but I had no idea how to use it. The merchant didn't know either, said it was part of a pond lot. Since I had no other choice, I've just been shaving it and sprinkling it on things from time to time. I shaved a little off with a knife and tasted it. Yep, the shape was different, but it was basically katsuobushi. Well, that's more or less right. Another way to use it is to simmer it to extract its umami. Do you have a lot of this? I've got a whole box. Fantastic. If you don't mind, could you share a little with me later? I'll pay for it, of course. I don't mind, but is it okay if I use some vegetables and eggs? Help yourself. It's all stuff I was gonna feed you guys anyway. Great, then I'll take you up on that. I'm just standing around here getting bored, so if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. In that case, could you start by shaving this katsuobushi for me? The thinner, the better. That's a piece of cake. By the way, is it okay if I make enough for your family, Barth? They'll eat, right? If it's good, the women in my family have strangely refined palates. All right, leave it to me. Seeing the katsuobushi decided the menu for me, I would stick to dishes from a region of Earth called Japan. The menu would be fried chicken thigh, fried chicken breast and tenderloin, and white liver sashimi. Right, we were having rice today. If there was time, I wanted to make oyakodon too. It would be all meat, which Elna wouldn't like, so I'd make a salad as well, and a clear soup with katsuobushi broth. First, I'd start by prepping the fried chicken. I cut the chicken thighs into bite-sized pieces and put them in a bowl. I'll just use all the meat. If there are leftovers, we can eat them tomorrow. This is a huge amount. I grated the ginger-like root with a grater, same with the garlic-like bulb. I put the grated stuff into the bowl with the meat. My style is to add a generous amount of garlic. Now for the soy sauce-like seasoning I bought. Was it called soy? They didn't have this in the kitchen. What's that? It's a seasoning called soy. You know Tal's General Store, right? I bought it there. Want a taste? I put a drop of soy on a small plate and handed it to Barth. That's got a pretty deep flavor. I think I'll buy some myself. It was pretty expensive. This little barrel cost 1 large silver coin. Oh, that's enough shaving for now. That's pretty steep. I'll have to think about it. I mixed the chicken thighs well and let them marinate in the sauce for a while. I really wanted to add some cooking sake, but you can't use what you don't have. I poked holes in the meat with a fork to help the flavor soak in. Since the katsuobushi was shaved, I decided to make the dashi broth. I put water in a pot and set it on the fire. While I waited, I'd make breadcrumbs. Yesterday's leftover bread was perfectly hard. Could you grate this bread with the grater? What are you gonna use that for? Just you watch. I cut the chicken breast and tenderloin into sizes suitable for frying. This was a lot, too. I put them in a bowl and marinated them in a light garlic and soy sauce marinade. This was for serving with tartar sauce, so the flavor was subtle. The water in the pot on the fire came to a boil, so I added the katsuobushi and let it simmer. The key was not to let it boil. Next up was making mayonnaise. Oops, first I should check if the eggs are safe to beat raw. I cracked one open and it looked the same as the one sold at the market in the Empire. There was something like a whisk, so I mixed it lightly and had Nanom check it by dipping my finger in. It is safe for raw consumption. All right, looks like there's no problem. Oops, is the pot done? I strained the dashi broth into another pot using a strainer. I tasted a bit from a small plate and the dashi had come out very well. I got some good umami out of it. Have a taste. I let Barth taste it too. What is this? This flavor from just this? I'll continue seasoning it later, though. I'll continue making the mayonnaise. First, I put eggs, sugar, salt, vinegar, and powdered herbs into a large bowl and mixed them well. This was also for the tartar sauce, so I made a large batch.
I added oil little by little while mixing continuously with the whisk. Just when my nanome-enhanced arm felt like it couldn't move anymore, it was finally done. I was only able to make it because it was me, but you really need some kind of mixer to make mayonnaise. I wonder if there's a magic tool that's like a mixer. I'll ask about it tomorrow. Delicious! Homemade mayonnaise really is the best. I let Barth taste this too. This is delicious. What is this sauce? Right? This is a super popular sauce in my country. It goes with anything, meat or vegetables. Oops, I should boil the eggs for the tartar sauce. All right, let's finish the clear soup. There was a mushroom that looked like shiitake in the refrigeration tool, so I'll make a simple soup with just mushrooms. The ingredients aren't the main focus. The star is the broth itself. I thinly sliced the mushrooms and reheated them with a little of the soy sauce-like seasoning and salt. That was all the seasoning it needed. Once it simmered, it was done. I tasted it, and the dashi from the katsuobushi and the dashi from the mushrooms matched perfectly. This is delicious. I let Barth taste it too. Delicious! This is so good. It's such a simple dish, but maybe because it's so simple. The boiled eggs were done, so I started making the tartar sauce. I minced an onion-like vegetable I found in the refrigeration tool, mixed it with the finely crushed boiled eggs, mayonnaise, salt, and pepper, and it was done. Let me have a taste. This sauce is delicious too. It seemed Barth had fallen under the spell of mayonnaise. Yep, this is delicious too. By the way, we're having rice today, right? How much longer until the food is done? Rice is best when it's freshly cooked. The rice is already washed and soaking in water. You know your stuff. Let's see, maybe about another hour? I'll time the cooking to match. Time to make the salad. I'm going to make a salad. Do you have any recommended vegetables? Let's see, for a salad, this, and this combination would be good. It was a leafy green, something similar to an onion, and a tomato-like vegetable. I can't believe there were tomatoes. I completely missed them. I roughly chopped the leafy greens and tomato and sliced the onion-like vegetables so thin it was translucent. I arranged them in a large bowl. I made some for Barth's family too. I'll chill this in the refrigeration tool. Next up, the white liver sashimi. I thinly sliced the liver and arranged it on a plate. I prepared a portion for Barth's family as well. Come to think of it, I've heard that eating raw liver can be a problem due to viruses and parasites. Is this liver okay in terms of viruses and parasites? None can be confirmed. I see. From now on, please check everything I plan to eat raw. Understood. To eat it, you dip it in a sauce made from an oil, very similar to the sesame oil I found at Mr. Talz's store, with salt and grated garlic added. I tried it right away. Delicious! This really is the best way to eat liver. Hey, are you eating that raw? It's fine if it's fresh. Well, people with weak stomachs probably shouldn't eat it. Try some. Delicious! I can't believe there was a way to eat it like this. Well, it's only this good because it's white liver. Regular liver isn't this tasty. I'll chill this in the refrigeration tool too. It's about time to start frying. I made a large amount of beaten egg, since I'd use it for the fried chicken too. I coated the marinated meat in flour, dipped it in the beaten egg, and then covered it with breadcrumbs. Barth helped me with this. I also added flour and beaten egg to the karagage chicken and mixed it well. I actually prefer potato starch, but you can't use what you don't have. Are you going to grill this? I can't even imagine what kind of dish it'll become. I'm going to deep fry it. Don't you have that kind of cooking method here? Deep fry? I've heard there's a dish like that in some country, but I've never heard of it around here. I poured the oil I bought at Tall's General Store into a large deep frying pan. This small barrel cost about 1 silver coin. Hey, are you sure about this? Putting in that much oil? This cooking method works best with a lot of oil. It's not impossible to do with less, though. The oil was hot, so I decided to fry a little of the chicken katsu and karagage to taste test. Both fried up to a beautiful golden brown. I tasted the karagage as is, and the katsu with tartar sauce, along with Barth. Nothing beats freshly fried food. The karagage was juicy, with juices bursting out. The garlic flavor was a nice accent. The chicken tenderloin katsu was perfectly crispy, and the texture was amazing. It went perfectly with the homemade tartar sauce. Delicious! What is this dish? Right? This is a popular menu item in my country. After that, Barth and I split the work and fried all the karagage and katsu. It ended up being an incredible amount. There's no way I can make oyakoda now. We'd never be able to eat it all. While frying, I was also reheating the clear soup on another fire magic tool. There were also some citrus fruits in the refrigeration tool, so I cut them up and served them with the fried food. And with that, it was done. Just then, the rice Barth had put on the fire seemed to be ready. It took a fair amount of time, but it was time to eat. Barth and I carried the food to Clearlia in the dining hall. Sorry for the wait. The food's ready, so let's eat. Barth, thanks for the help. You were a lifesaver. It was nothing. Alan, I need to talk to you. Make some time for me tomorrow. Got it. Any time is fine. All right, this food is best while it's hot. Let's dig in. So this is a dish from Alan's country. What a strange dish. Today, I stuck with dishes from a region in my country called Japan. I hope you like it. First, let's start with the clear soup. Yep, it's as delicious as I thought. Using only mushrooms as the main ingredient was the right choice. Seeing me, Clelia and Elna also started with the soup. Delicious! What is this soup? It has an incredibly refined taste. I'm glad you like it. For the fried food, use this sauce. For the salad, use this other one. I squeezed some citrus fruit over the fried food. I put some karagage and katsu on my plate and ate. It's delicious, as expected. Japanese food really is the best. I want to try making sushi someday. I wonder how far it is to the sea. This is delicious too. Of all the dishes you've made, Alan, this is the best. You're amazing, Alan. This salad is also incredibly delicious. I've never had a sauce like this before. It seemed Clelia's favorite was the karagage. Elna had also been captured by the mayonnaise. For a while, everyone ate in silence. Come to think of it, I'd like some ale. The innkeeper's daughter was at the counter, so I raised my hand to order. Thank you so much for making food for us, too. I snuck a taste earlier, and it was incredibly delicious. I'd really like for you to eat it while it's hot, but I guess you can't help it with work. I'll have one ale. Leah, do you girls want any alcohol?
I don't need any. I don't need any either. Everyone was too engrossed in eating. I don't need any more alcohol besides the ale, so why don't you go eat? I'll let you know if a customer comes. Understood. I'll bring it right away. My stomach had settled down a bit, so I drank my ale while nibbling on the white liver. Barth's rice cooking skills were top-notch. I should have had tamago kake gohan. I'll ask him next time. Amazingly, Clelia and the girls finished all of that food. I ate a lot too, but Clelia's appetite was something else. That was delicious. The food from Alan's country is so good. I might have eaten too much. It was truly delicious. I've never had such a wonderful meal before. I'm glad you liked it. It was worth making. The innkeeper's daughter seemed to have finished eating as well, and she praised it highly, saying how delicious it was. She said to leave the cleanup to her, so I graciously accepted. Completely full, we took a bath and went straight to sleep. The search. 50 days ago. 3 days had passed since the ship's reconstruction was completed. The ship's orbit had stabilized, and there was no longer any danger of crashing. All that remained was to adjust the orbit over time to achieve a completely stable trajectory. Repairs on the ship were also proceeding at a rapid pace thanks to the maintenance spots. The ship's airtightness had already been restored. However, there were too many areas to repair and not enough maintenance spots. It would still take time to fully restore the functions of each section. The top priority for repairs, as per the captain's orders, was anything related to maintaining this ship's combat power and the combat power of the space fleet. Since we had lost the engine section, the main and secondary cannons were no longer usable. However, we could still use photon torpedoes, and we had 52 powerful laser cannons, though not as powerful as the secondary cannons. The shields were also fine as long as they weren't used for extended periods. Once all the attitude control sub-engines were restored, we should be able to take on 5 Bugs BG-1 type cruisers. In addition to repairing the ship, we were actively working to bolster our lost forces, and a plan was already in place.
There had been no communication whatsoever with the escape pod the captain was on. At first, I thought it was just a malfunction of the escape pod, but after 3 days, it was unlikely that the captain and nanom hadn't been able to fix it. Something must have happened. The escape pod was supposed to be emitting a signal to indicate its position, but there had been no beacon signal since its launch. I had confirmed that it broke through the atmosphere, and the parachute opened, but then it was immediately obscured by clouds and I lost sight of it. Why was there no beacon signal? I checked the escape pod specifications and found no problems. Then my attention turned to the manufacturer of the escape pod, Orlando Heavy Industries Limited, a company that was currently in trouble in the Empire for falsifying performance data. Iris was experiencing what a human would call a bad feeling. I activated one of the escape pods and communicated with its AI. It was terrible. It was not something that should be used in military equipment. How had such a defective product gone undiscovered until now? It was true that escape pods weren't used often. In battles with the bugs, the weapons on both sides were so powerful that it was rare for a ship to be only partially destroyed. It was either unscathed or blown to bits, so there were few opportunities to use an escape pod. Looking into it further, I found that Orlando Heavy Industries had newly entered the escape pod market 3 years ago, and the escape pod they had developed was the same one installed on the Iris. It was understandable then that it had not been discovered. I needed to examine not just the AI, but the pod's body as well. Using one of the maintenance bots, I began to dismantle the escape pod. It was full of materials with specs different from the official documents. It's a wonder it ever passed quality inspection. They probably used materials that met the specifications only for the inspection models. Come to think of it, there had been reports of their collusion with Imperial inspectors. Fortunately, only the parachute-related structures and parts were made properly, so the landing itself should have been fine. Since I didn't know the captain's exact landing position, I ran a simulation of the estimated landing site based on the last known position. It was frustrating not having any weather data. The landing site varied considerably between a windless state and a strong wind scenario, making the search area vast. Currently, 90% of the reconnaissance drones, 73 in total, were assigned to the search for the captain. I was constantly calling out via the drone's communication systems, but there was no response. Information was pouring in from the drones. Surprisingly, it seemed that those related to humanity were flourishing on this planet. At least their appearance was identical to humans. One of the drones discovered what appeared to be a human corpse along a road. Perfect. Let's check the genes. The road wasn't very wide, but it was wide enough for a drone, which was a VTOL aircraft, to land without any problems. I checked the vicinity, but there were no other humans or animals. The drone was always in stealth mode while operating on this planet. Stealth was a function for covert operations that combined radio wave absorption and optical camouflage. Visually speaking, a human could be standing right in front of the drone and not notice it. It landed slowly next to the corpse. The engine noise was quite loud, so it was possible something had detected it. I remained on alert, but there seemed to be no problems. I extended a flexible arm and touched the corpse with a sensor at its tip. The corpse was, without a doubt, one of those related to humanity. I then used the arm to rummage through the luggage near the corpse, but there was nothing of particular interest. Clothes, food, coins, a sword, and so on. They were probably attacked while traveling. From the luggage, I was able to get a rough idea of this planet's technological level, but there was no other information to be gained. I took off, handed control back to the drone's AI, and continued the search. 13 days after the ship's reconstruction. The captain still had not been found. The search had progressed to the point where, considering the size of the escape pod, the pod itself should have been discovered by now. I would have to expand the search area even further. To my surprise, several types of humanoid life forms thought to be intelligent life forms other than humans had been discovered on this planet. This was something that had never been seen on any of the planets discovered so far. Their intelligence seemed to be considerably lower than humans, but it was extremely interesting.
Once the captain was found and I had the time, I definitely wanted to study them. The investigation of major human cities was also progressing, albeit slowly. I had gathered as much information as could be observed from the sky. From now on, I would collect information more aggressively. I definitely wanted to learn the language, customs, and culture used on this planet and gather even more information. That might lead to finding the captain. As I watched the city from above, I saw people entering a building on a main street and coming out after a while. The building was probably an eatery or a tavern. As night fell and I continued to monitor with the night vision sensor, some of the people coming out of the establishment began to stumble. It was definitely a tavern. This was good. In a tavern, everyone talks loudly and says things they normally wouldn't. This was the same on every human planet. I'll confirm the closing time and plant a bit inside the establishment tomorrow night. A bit is an ultra-small information-gathering surveillance device, 5 centimeters long and shaped like a steak. It is a device equipped with a small video sensor and microphone that can send information to a drone via communication. The drone has the function of ejecting this bit and can launch it towards a target. Each drone was equipped with 200 bits. The next night at midnight, the operation finally began. It was almost closing time. I would plant the bit before then. There were still people on the street, but they were sparse and not near the tavern. The drone began its descent. I would be as quick as possible. I descended towards the main street at a speed I wouldn't normally use. A person noticed the anomaly and came out of the shop, but was buffeted by the jet's hot wind and hastily returned inside. The tavern had no door, and the inside was in plain view. I'll aim for the joint where that pillar meets the ceiling. I fired the bit and it hit the target precisely. The bit rotated and burrowed into the pillar. The bit's casing was completely hidden inside the pillar with only the video sensor visible. No one would notice the bit now. The objective was accomplished, so I began to ascend. Immediately, a view of the inside of the tavern was sent to me via the drone. Since it was just before closing time in the middle of the night, it didn't seem to cause much of a commotion. The operation was a success. Suddenly, a high-pitched whoosh echoed through the street, and a gust of wind began to blow. The gust even entered the tavern. The tavern owner rushed out to see what was happening, but the street was filled with hot wind and swirling dust, so he hastily returned inside. The tavern had no door, and the inside was in plain view. I'll aim for the joint where that pillar meets the ceiling. I fired the bit, and it hit the target precisely. The bit rotated and burrowed into the pillar. The bit's casing was completely hidden inside the pillar with only the video sensor visible. No one would notice the bit now. The objective was accomplished, so I began to ascend. Immediately, a view of the inside of the tavern was sent to me via the drone. Since it was just before closing time in the middle of the night, it didn't seem to cause much of a commotion. The operation was a success. Suddenly, a high-pitched whoosh echoed through the street, and a gust of wind began to blow. The dust even entered the tavern. The tavern owner rushed out to see what was happening, but the street was filled with hot wind and swirling dust, so he hastily returned inside. Then the sound gradually faded, the wind subsided, and soon nothing could be heard. It was as if the earlier commotion had been a lie. The owner of the tavern scratched his head, wondering what on earth that had been. I carried out similar operations in all the major cities. Vast amounts of data were collected daily. Since there were many samples, the language was quickly translated. Conveniently, it seemed that only one language was used on this continent. The way people lived, the names of countries and towns, the form of government, and various other pieces of information were gathered. I accumulated this vast amount of data. 23 days had passed since the ship.